Hello, everyone. Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to welcome everyone once again for our EalSuite Evolution webinar series. I hope that everybody is having a very good time and you're all using our software for the most productive and efficient purpose as far as we know of. So, yeah, once again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining today's webinar series. I'm sure that everybody is excited to know more about what we bought in this week in terms of our releases and like eager to know about it. That's the reason why you're here, right? Yes. So, okay, let me first of all, explain about the different tools that you can see within your platform. Starting from the very left, you can see the chat option. You can write down whatever doubts or in between while I'm explaining all the kinds of improvements that we have brought in. If you want to write down your opinions or perspectives or anything like that, you can use the chat option. Then you have the Q&A part where you can directly ask me questions regarding specific features or any general features related to EalSuite. And then you have the raise hand option. You can raise the hand, I'll get the notification, and then I'll give you the permission to unmute yourself, and we will have a verbal communication on that. You can also utilize the reaction button as well. All right. So I can see familiar faces a lot and one or two new faces as well. So thank you very much for joining. It's a pleasure to have everyone here. Each and every week, I can see the count increasing, not a lot in terms of margin, but I can see still the count being increased at the very end also. So I want all of you to stay back and stay behind till the very end of the webinar to be completed so that you will be getting each and every bit of detail that I'll be explaining here today. All right, let me just give you a few more seconds for everyone to settle down and then we'll get started. Okay, so first of all, I'll just give you a preface or an overview regarding what we will be speaking about today. So we have EalSuite Evolution. All right. So let me just share my screen right now. So we have EalSuite Evolution. We'll be speaking exclusively about flexible organization settings, revamped approval processes, and how we will be able to tweak and edit the employee data and the whole thing then we can manage with regards to employees. Okay, so we will first of all concentrate on our release notes. In this particular webinar, we will be speaking about the releases that we had on 13th of July 2024. So we have feature updates starting from Streamlined Employee Data Management. So we introduced a new inline editing feature for employee data. We'll take a closer look into that, which makes updates much more quicker and much more intuitive. Additionally, a specific inline edit privilege can now also be set, providing controlled access to this feature and ensuring data integrity. Then, when it comes to enhancements, we have two enhancements. The first one is Revamped Approval Process Interface. So we can experience a newly implemented user interface for the approval process, which is designed for clarity and ease of use, enhancing your workflow efficiency. And then we have flexible organization settings. You can now update the branch code directly in the organization settings, offering more flexibility in managing multiple branches and simplifying administrative processes. And finally, the issues that we have resolved. The fixed expense and deposit smart views filtering. So we have resolved an issue that previously prevented filtering by category in the expense and deposit list. And the functionality is now fully operational, allowing for more precise and useful reporting. Okay, so we will be speaking first of all about our feature update, then into our enhancement, and then and finally into our resolved issue. So I hope that everybody settled in quite nicely, and we can start with our first feature update. Streamlined Employee Data Management, where we have brought in a new inline editing feature. So, as you all know that we have a human resource management module up in our sleeve, and we'll be able to enter all employer related data into this particular form or into this particular module. So here we can see that we have a bunch of employees or employee details already created. We can go into a specific employee. So imagine an employee is created, and once the creation is done, you're taken into the view page here. Now, till date, there were different methods to edit the data from this page. And the first and the foremost one was to click on edit, and this will take into an edit page or into a form which provides us the details to edit the data of employees. We can make the edits here, like from single to married, or from an Android developer to an Android researcher. And if you want to make changes to any of the fields, you will be able to do so, and you can click on submit. It will again take us into the smart view. Now, next method, the basic information and the snapshot area editing. So you can click on edit here, and you can bring in more, more and more fields. Like if I don't want status to be here, but if I want gender to be here, and if I want to drag and drop it in different areas, I can do it. So here, what happens under basic information, gender, the field gender has been added. The same thing works out for snapshot as well, right? So we are taking this to the very next layer. We have inline editing functionality. If you want to change the name, you can click on edit, the edit button, which comes close to the name itself for the data entered in that particular field. You can click on it and you can write. You can further edit it. So this could be a text field. The name is a text box. Now what happens to fields which has a field type as drop downs? For example, gender. You can click on the data entered here, that which is female, click on it and it will show you the drop down again. You can change it from there, right? The same thing happens for phone number because it's a number field. If you want to change it, you can do that as well. This happens for URLs or emails. The same thing happens. So in such a way, you will be able to edit whichever kind of fields in an inline editing manner. So this is a new change. See, when it comes to an employee view page, now we can make 3 different kinds of edit. First of all, the data edit can be done by clicking on the edit button on the top right. Then the basic information and snapshot fields can be customized by editing on this edit button, and you can add new groups, right? Add group. But there are some limitations to this one in terms of numbers only. All right. And next we have the inline editing. Now, the inline editing has been introduced directly to full administrators. Any full administrator will be able to inline edit. No special permission is to be needed. But what's the case of sub-users? That's the next question. So in terms of sub-users, we have introduced a new option into our settings. Under company setup, we can go to users and roles. And here, if you go to roles, then we can assign an inline editing permission. You can enable it for different roles. So let's take in terms of procurement head, then we can go to HRM, and you can see that we have view edit, create edit, then inline edit also. So if inline editing has been enabled for this particular role, and subsequently for the user, then he or she will be able to inline edit the details of employees. So this is the way in which inline editing has been introduced, and how the way in which this functionality works out in terms of employee details management. I hope it's clear for everyone. If you're having any doubts, you can ask me now. Any kind of doubts? Okay, I have a question here. Is inline editing also available for basic information or the top groups? Okay, so the answer to that question is that the basic information or the snapshot, everything is created in such a way that you can maybe change the name of snapshot to something else, like joining details, just like this. If I submit, this changes from snapshot to details. So let me just break it down step by step. If you want to change the name of this one, then you can go directly here. Then if you want to change the name of, change the, the field name, like created at or personal email. These are all default names, right? You won't be able to change that. Next, the data entered into all of this, like designation. You don't have to come here and then we don't have to put in an inline edit against Android research under this particular section. If you want to change this, then the method to do so is come down here and then change it like this. And the changes will be getting reflected on the top section as well. So that way you will be able to make edits to the groups that we have on top of the employee view page. I hope your question is answered properly. If there's any follow-up questions on that, please shoot. Nothing, I guess. Is everything clear? Yes. All right. So our feature update is completed in terms of inline editing. Next, we can move into the new UI for approval processes. So we have streamlined the approval system in a much better manner. So earlier, if you go to settings and under general preferences, you have so many options, but under company setup, you have approvals. So if you go to approval, then there was a drop down for us to choose against which module that you are setting up approvals. Right now, the modules will be shown here. All you have to do is go inside and then click on enable that particular bill approvals. This is the way in which we have bought the new update. So I know that's a very small change in terms of UI, but the reason why we bought in this change was that earlier people were thinking, okay, I can select a particular bill or module from the drop down and I can set in approvals. This was bringing in the same kind of approvals for all the bills. Some people thought like that. So we had to change that mindset and we worked it around in this particular UI. Now, can anyone tell me which user interface have we cloned this from? We have a similar kind of a UI when it comes to settings, where we see a list of modules or bills against which we can do something, or we can open up and further functionalities can be worked out. So does anyone you know see any comparison to any other functionality? Yes, exactly. Forms do works in this particular manner. You can click on form and you can see modules, the list of modules, and when we click on it, it will take you to the next layer. So that's the way in which the breadcrumbs works. The small UI change, I would say, but a very useful one. Next one is flexible organization settings. So enhanced feature for streamlining the organizational settings management. So this is another very good change. Or we have introduced something else, some kind of a functionality, and that is if we go to our company setup here under organization setups, there were a lot of requests coming from people to provide the functionality to change the branch code. So earlier we had company names, then branch names. This only gets reflected. The branch code will only be seen by users who are running with multiple branches in EalSuite. For the rest of the people, you won't be able to see it. All right. So if you have branch codes, and then if you want to change the branch code, just like this, then it will be saved. And you can see the branch code has been changed. So this way, even your master branch code or your sub branches code can be changed. Okay, any other doubts? No, this can only be changed from organization settings. You can't go into branch settings or something like that and change the code. The only place to change the code is right now under organization settings only. All right. Next, we will be speaking about our bug that we have fixed. So addressing challenges in terms of expenses and deposit filtering. So previously there was a limitation when it comes to expense and deposit filterings, especially when we are choosing the field category. So what was it? It was if you're coming into accounting submodule and select transaction submodule. Under expense and deposit, I mean, if you're creating an expense or deposit, you can always mark it into a category, right? The categories was very important. So here, let me just give you, I mean, the issue was like persisting under permanent filtering as well as in temporary filters. So if I was just choosing like category is loading and unloading expenses, then electricity expenses, freight, something like this. And if I was filtering, this filtering process was not working. And it was specifically for adding filter when the field was chosen as category. For the rest of the filtering, there was no issue with respect to smart view or anything like that. It was specifically into category. So we have fixed it. So it's working fine right now. And the same can be observed under, it's not empty. You'll get the same thing itself, decoration income and freight charges income, category results, that's it. But it's working. It was not working earlier. So that bug has been fixed. All right. So I would say that for this week, we only had 4 of these to speak about. It's very short, right? It's very short this week. It's very precise, but there are a lot of things coming. The change which we have brought in against employee data or employee data management is really crucial because we have brought in an inline editing functionality. Now we'll be spreading this. Imagine spreading this inline editing functionality to all of your records. You don't have to necessarily go into the edit page, then edit it, then click on submit. Nothing like that. You don't have to open the whole form, see the whole details of the invoice, and you don't have to make mistakes like that. You only have to provide inline editing. You don't have to provide editing the entire document so that the sub-users won't be making any mistakes. That's a very huge change. So if you're having any kind of doubts or anything that you want to ask me, then you can ask me now. Anything. Shoot. No doubts. No doubts from anyone. All right. I knew that this was going to be a very short session this time around because we were all having one feature update and then 2 enhancement and resolved issue. But we will be bringing in more for next week. We already have something really, really amazing planned out for next week as well. So as always, thank you very much everyone for attending today's webinar, and look into our documentation portal so you can get each and every bit of detail regarding what are the new releases and how this can be worked out. You can go through our YouTube channels and get the recordings. All right. And then you can go through all the details once again and get a better understanding at your own time. You can reach out directly to our support team or into your service partner support team to get more knowledge on this. And we're always here to help as well. So if you're coming across any doubts or any queries or any issues that you're facing, please reach out to us quickly so we can get it resolved immediately. All right. So we'll meet again next week with a lot of new updates coming in. Thank you very much everyone for joining. Take care and bye.